Welcome back to another episode of Falcon Quick Tips. So now you understand the nature of the market. It's very, very important for us to build on these key components. I'm really excited for this series to be touching on some major key components within the Falcon strategy, which moves us nicely onto patterns within patterns. So if you've been in the Falcon community for a while, or you've recently or been involved in the Foundation series, you'll know the importance of pattern identification. But what we've taken very uniquely to Falcon is something called patterns within patterns. So make sure you take a few notes. Understanding why the importance of patterns within patterns is really to do with the probability. So what we've found with focusing on reversals, so such things as ascending channels, descending channels, what we tend to find is the same pattern within that pattern. So we may have, let's say, a larger ascending channel, and then as we dig our way down into a particular structure, we will have that same pattern within the pattern, and that really does give us a higher probability for the trade. So let's just look at the structures firstly. If we look at pound dollar, we can see here that we have an overall bigger continuation. So we're on a daily chart, we're looking at this as a bigger structure for now. So as we can see, we have our impulse down and we're looking for continuation to the downside. So we understand the structure and the pattern is giving us a continuation. So how can we increase our edge and probability by looking at the pattern within the pattern? So as you can see here, we actually have two key components that helps us. Not only do we have our overall arc and double top type formation here, we actually have a few other areas, which is this. If you look at the continuation, we actually have a pattern within the continuation, which is the ascending channel. So notice how we have the ascending channel, which is a reversal at the double top. The overall move is a big continuation to correct an impulse to the downside. So then what we're looking for is there any patterns within patterns that can help us? And as you can see, we have the ascending channel within the continuation. We know this pattern is a reversal. So this just gives us an even higher probability that it's a sell setup. And then as we take it one step further, as you can see, we have impulse, correction, impulse. And what do we have before we break? We actually have impulse, correction, impulse. So what we do have is we have a big bear flag continuation within a bear flag continuation. So we've got this continuation within an overall bigger continuation. The ascending channel was just another added bonus. Generally what we're looking at is a pattern within the same pattern, but in this case we actually have an ascending channel, which is a reversal within the direction of this pattern anyway. So that was just another added bonus. And when we see components like this, it has such a high probability for us to take the trade. So whether you took it as a risk entry here, or whether you took it as a reduced risk style entry on the break here, you can see how powerful patterns within patterns really are and where we really get an edge within the market. And if we build on that within pound dollar, let's actually move one step further and take a look at this. If we look at the overall current structure that we have on the daily chart, you can see that all we are really looking at is patterns within patterns. And as you can see, we have one big ascending channel. And as we're building this ascending channel, we know its true nature is for this to move to the downside. We have a high probability that these structures, these ascending channels, will eventually come to the downside. And what we've been looking at within this structure is multiple opportunities in which that we can capitalize on selling opportunities. So we see the overall bigger structure. And as you can see, the current part here, very simple. We have an ascending channel within an ascending channel. So you can see why the importance of when you have a pattern within a pattern within a pattern. And these really are the key components that help us when understanding how to deal with these particular type of structures. So now let's take a look at a particular area within the structure and then build our way down into a few of the lower time frames so you really see what's going on here. So if we start off and go down to the 4-hour chart. So if we go to the 4-hour chart, you can see within the section, let's look for some patterns within patterns. Now, if we take a look at this particular structure here, you can see that we have the ascending channel and we have a pattern within a pattern. This gives us a very, very high probability that this is coming to the downside. When you look at it, we have this type of formation. So we know that this is an overall ascending channel. But at the same time, what really gives us an edge when we're looking at these structures for, let's say, a sell setup, we're looking at the fact that we have a pattern within a pattern. So we have an ascending channel here within an overall ascending channel. So you can see how by having an ascending channel within an ascending channel, it gives us an edge in, well, we have a pattern within a pattern here. So it's going to give us an even higher probability that we're going to move to the downside. We can even look at these overall channels. We see them over and over again, even this particular structure on the actual break here of this channel. We now have an ascending channel within an ascending channel. So you can see with the particular structure that we was looking at, and then we have the bigger ascending channel within the ascending channel. So looking at the structure, we're looking at this as just one big reversal to come to the downside. And then when we look at it one step further, we can see, well, this is just an ascending channel waiting to come to the downside. And as you can see, we had multiple entry types, either risk entry and reduced risk within Falcon. So by understanding the importance of these patterns within patterns to filter out your trades, to understand, well, it's good and we've got a lot of reasons to take the trade, but how can we take that one step further by really understanding its true nature and combining all of these components? What I found is by utilizing patterns within patterns, it really was a game changer. And you can see they just appear a lot of the times, and it's something that's often overlooked. If we look at this particular section that we can see now, as we zoom more into recent current structure, you can see that we have our pattern within the pattern. So you see this is the ascending channel, and then you have the ascending channel within the ascending. So something you'll hear within Falcon a lot is an ascending within an ascending. This is by far my go-to setup within the Falcon strategy. When I see something like this at the top of a pattern or at the top of the structure, I know this is going to be a game-changing move for us to really capitalize. We combined it with the understanding that this whole structure is unsustainable to move to the upside without a bigger selling opportunity. And then we have that same structure, so a smaller version of the same structure within it, then the probability is just increased so much more. And that's what we're really looking for as traders. We're looking to add an increase where there others don't see it. So as you can see, even if we just outline the particular structure here, we have an ascending channel, and then we have this overall structure is pretty much an ascending channel, but to be really specific, the tighter ascending channel is within here. But you can see the whole structure is just paving the way for us. And the reason why it's so important. So all of these patterns within patterns, they can be applied to any time frame that you like. It can be applied to the monthly, the weekly, the daily. Even if we just take that one step further and take a look at this structure here, you can see this overall ascending channel. The ascending channel here. So we know that this is a reversal, and then what we're looking at is the pattern within the pattern. So as you can see, if I zoom in, we actually have, even on the weekly time frame, an ascending channel within an ascending channel. If I go to the daily, it gets a lot clearer for you to see. So let's take a look at that. So on the daily chart, you can see that we have an ascending channel within an ascending channel. Understanding the 80-20 rule, we can see that the majority of this is corrective, and it's only really one impulsive candle. So we know that if 80% of this move is corrective, then that is classed as a correction. So we have the overall bigger ascending channel within the ascending channel, and then we have this corrective nature to then look for some sell setups. So we're just building on that all the time. And this is not an uncommon thing. We see patterns within patterns all the time. Commonly, what I found is there generally are ascendings within ascendings or descending channels within descending channels. A lot of the time you will see them within flags as well. So you'll see a continuation pattern within a continuation, just like we built on here. So we have an impulse correction as a continuation pattern, and then we have the impulse correction within it. So you just got a pattern within a pattern. And when you really focus on these, on all pairs and all structures, you're going to see how reliable and why this needs to be a go-to setup in your trading plan, which you're either building now or you've already got down to a T. So if you haven't got it in there, I do recommend it. And as a nice little exercise to build off of this, I recommend you go over to as many currency pairs as possible and write out in a journal ascendings within ascendings or descendings within descendings, bull flag within bull flag, bear flag within bear flag, and really just plot on and see how reliable they are to see if you can take your pattern identification to that next level. And this is what is really going to improve your edge and make you an even better trader than you are already. So I really hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Falcon Quick Tips. Really excited to be bringing you these bite-sized chunks in all areas of the strategy. We're going to be diving deeper into different components in the later seasons, but in this particular one, we're going to be focusing more predominantly on technical analysis. So in this section, we've now covered nature, and now we've covered patterns within patterns, and we're going to be moving on to some other key components that really help on exactly what you've learned in this episode. So can't wait to get into the next episode, and I'll see you on the other side.